Hello world, this is a Dark Knight up to level 50 guide. This is Shadowbringers 5.2. Links for both the gear and the accessories can be found in the description box below. So for the Glamour set, we have the Ravel Keeper's Guillotine for the main hand, Pa's Knee for the head, the Strife Vest for the body. For the hands, we have Nightsteel Gauntlets of Fending. For legs, we have number 2 type B Leggings, and for the feet, we have Bonewicca Protector Sabatons. Welcome to a Shadowbringers Skill Spotlight. At level 45, we get Dark Mind, reduces magic vulnerability by 20%, duration of 10 seconds. It is instant cast with a 60-second off global. We are in Palace of the Dead. I'd rather just do this than just run into a dungeon and hope to God that some enemies have magic damage. But there are slimes in this place and there are mimics. So there are a ton of slimes. Okay, mimics, not mimics, slimes. They do magic damage. They cast Blizzard on me. 863. So I'm gonna pop Dark Mind here. That did 862 on a crit. You can notice the damage drop. Blizzard 444, 657. That was a direct hit. 436, and then without Dark Mind, it goes back up to 562, 552. So it dropped by about 100 damage. So you kind of get the idea of what Dark Mind does. It's generally used in stack mechanics. It's generally used in room-wide mechanics. Otherwise, it's basically disregarded. You can use it on big pulls. Typically, you're going to have a caster in the group somewhere. But this is basically non-existent unless again you're in savage content, you're in extreme content. Sometimes some bosses do tank busters that have magic damage in it. So we're here talking about the Living Dead mechanic and the Walking Dead mechanic. I have to be in combat, otherwise this makes no sense. But in a general sense, Living Dead grants the effect of Living Dead. When HP is reduced to 0 while under the effect of Living Dead, instead of you becoming KO'd, dead for sure, your status will be changed to Walking Dead. So the Living Dead status lasts for 10 seconds, and it is instant cast with a 300-second off global. Now, once you have Walking Dead on, and you basically have a huge gap in your health bar, it's basically grayed out. Much like the helmet was glowing there. While under the effect of Walking Dead, most attacks will no longer drop your health below 1. Most attacks, that is. Some tank busters or some room-wide mechanics and raids, they will straight up kill you. If before the Walking Dead timer runs out of HP is restored to 100%, the effect will fade. If 100% is not restored, you will be dead for sure. Dead. The Walking Dead's duration is also 10 seconds. So I'm going to try to give you an example of what would happen if you're not restored completely to 100%, which I can do that by myself. I have accursed pox ticking on me. As soon as I spawned in, the chest that was literally right next to me was a mimic. Go me. I'm just gonna skip it forward. You know, you're fighting a boss or you're fighting a lot of enemies at once, and you know, you don't have any other mechanics or any other mitigation forms so you can heal. And obviously the healer is having a bit of an issue trying to keep your health up. So obviously you would press the Living Dead and hope for the best. The general way of doing this is to having a white mage is essentially the most optimal way of using this. Otherwise, the healer would just try their damnness best to try to bring you back. Living Dead, I think right here is pretty good. So right here. So I'm going to die. Living Dead will change to the Walking Dead, as you can see there. Now I have 10 seconds to bring myself back from 1 to 100% health completely. Otherwise, this happens. So you are dead once that timer expires under Walking Dead, if your health doesn't go up to 100%. And yeah, again, with the Dark Minds, I don't see much in terms of a use for this. I hope they just need to remove this, honestly. Just remove this, make it so it's, I don't know, 20% damage in overall for what, 5-6 seconds, just like it is for paladins, you know, something like 18, 15, 20%. I'd rather have overall damage than just magic damage, which is pretty hard on its own to try to figure out where it is used. Obviously, if you're running through savage content, you might know when it's used. If you're running through dungeons plenty of times over and over again, you'll know when to use this. But if it's just someone going through MSQ content, this is pretty much non-existent. Yeah, there's really not much in terms of rotation for this up to level 50. Obviously, it's all technical. It's all whether or not using Living Dead or Dark Minds. With Living Dead, however, if you have a random healer and you're running through random dungeon or just a random raid, don't depend on this. Just use your normal rotations as you see fit. Don't depend on Living Dead unless it's Savage content and you need to absolutely use the mechanic for whatever reason. If you do end up dying, that there's not many enemies left for the healer and the DPS to take care of. Hello everyone, and this is going to be a Dark Knight. This is a dungeon example up to level 50, and the dungeon will be the Wondrous Palace, and I have my good friend Lynn Clavier, if that is how you pronounce your name, here through a example of how to use Dark Mind and of course the Living Dead. Dark Mind is not so much of a good use in this dungeon because there aren't many instances where I can actually use Dark Mind. Not many enemies do magic damage. We're just gonna pull all the enemies all the way back. I'm trying to grab everything before they tether to the healer, to Lynn. She should have regen on me 24/7. And I think this is where it ends. So the idea is we're going to try to minimize mitigation since we have Living Dead. I do not advise this. I advise you to just pop mitigation as needed. Yeah, go ahead and do your holy and stuff. Yeah, she should be tossing holy. This is post commentary, by the way. Alright, 7, 6, 5. Oh, that's too soon. No, that's fine. No, I was fine. It was just too soon. But yeah, that was a good example. It was a good example. Yeah, so that's basically the idea is to pop the benediction if you're playing White Mage. Or if you're not playing White Mage, you want to generally just blow off most of your heals. The idea is to bring the tank's health back up to 100%, overheal them if you need to. Otherwise, they would die when the second timer expires. Alright, so here's another example. Again, we're going to try to grab aggro, and I should have just used AoE there. There we go. Yeah, let's do it. For my second attempt, we're going to try to grab everything here. I think we grab a few more than last time. And again, this is mostly utilizing Benediction, which is kind of the easy way around this. I also explained that further on in the video. So around 30%. So I should die here, quote unquote. There we go. Alright, and Benediction. Yeah, that was pretty good. Oh, you always want a better Benediction. But the thing is, this is Benediction. This is the easy way out of this mechanic. So what typically happens with a Dark Knight and their Living Dead is they go so far ahead that the healer can't even reach them, and then they pop their Living Dead. The healer still can't reach them, so by the time they come back, the healer is either, you know, not a White Mage that knows how to press Benediction, and they're just trying so hard to bring their health back up. They bring it back up to like 50% and the tank dies. So that's typically what happens with a piece of shit tank, right? So what I'm talking about here is where the tank goes so far ahead and the healer is not used to the mechanic. Like I said before, you're trying not to use the Living Dead. It's more towards a oh shit situation, and you have nothing else to toss at the enemy to mitigate damage. Otherwise, you do not want to rely on Living Dead whatsoever, unless it's a Savage content. So yeah, that applies to boss fights as well, but in boss fights it's more if you know the fight. So if you know the fight, you're going to use it as necessary, and you're also going to have up to 2 healers, and also going to have up to a certain number of support DPS that can also assist you. But in a general sense, if you need to use it, go ahead and manage it if you're the healer. If you can, fantastic. If not, it's a-okay. It is pretty difficult to bring the tank, the Dark Knight, back to 100. So I'm looking for a LB from the ninja or the samurai. It looks like that's not going to happen. Oh yeah, you got you covered. This is considered okay. That was called for. I'll take it. Except that does 500 potency, and that's shittier than a Cure 2. Hello world, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe here. You can also donate if interested in supporting the channel. More content to watch on the right side. If interested in joining in the Tempest Talons, info in the top left. And as always, good luck to you, and we'll see you next time.